Hey, how's it going? I'm Nick Gaska and welcome back to I Can Do That DIY for another doll repaint video. Today's project is going to be inspired by the season we're currently in, spring. More specifically, flowers and even more specifically, orchids. Alright, let's get into it. The doll we're using for today's custom is an Amanita Nightshade. I'm in love with her face mold. I think she looks really pretty. I got this a while back and I don't know what happened to the forearms. We're going to be using these pink Creative Monster forearms as our new arms. Previously I also prepped her by removing her hair and her face paint. For the hair today, instead of using acrylic wefts, we're going to be using this nylon doll hair I got on dollyhair.com. It's a mixture of two different ingredients and I ombrated it off screen using some Rit dye more. I'm really happy with how this color turned out. I think it looks really pretty and very similar to an orchid. The color of the hair is actually what inspired the rest of the doll. But before we start rerouting the hair, we had to remove the factory paint on the scalp with some pure acetone. Once the paint is removed, I'm going to wash the head with some soap and water off screen. Then we can start rerouting. So here's a little section of hair and the head. Here is my reroot tool, which is just a needle and an X-Acto knife holder. I'm going to grab a little section, put it between the two prongs, and stab it in the head. I'm going to continue this along the whole hairline and then fill in the head. This will take a really long time, so I'm going to do the rest off screen. So here's the finished reroot. I think it looks really good. The doll originally had a center part, but I changed it to a side part. Off screen, I also glued the inside of the head with some fabric tack glue to make sure that the hair stays in place. Now let's put the head back on the body. Alright, cool. Now that the head's on the body, let's prep this doll for repaint. Off screen, I protected the hair and the body with some plastic wrap and some scotch tape. We're also going to do 2 layers of Mr. Super Clear as a base. To start out the face up, we're going to use a dark green watercolor pencil to mark out the general eye shape. I'm also going to draw in the upper eyelids and color in the nostrils. Then we're going to use the dark yellow watercolor pencil to mark out our iris and fill it in. Then using a dark green pen pastel, we're going to contour around the eyes. And while I do that, I just say thank you so much for watching and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest projects. Now I'm going to take a yellow pastel and color in the irises. Then I'm going to use the light pink pastel for the lips and some blush. We're going to use it on the cheeks, the nose, and the eyelids. Then I'm going to use my brand new black DEWERT Inktense watercolor pencil to outline the top of the eyelid. Next, we're going to use my white pastels to highlight the brow bone, the nose, and the forehead. On the next layer, I'm going to use my white watercolor pencil to color in the sclera. Alright, cool. Next, let's use my magenta watercolor pencil to outline the iris and shape the top. After that, I'm going to use my black watercolor pencil to outline the bottom of the eye. And then we're going to use some pastels on the iris. I'm going to do magenta at the top and yellow at the bottom. Then using the same magenta pastel, we're going to enhance the blush. I'm using a clean brush to blend out the edges. Then we're going to also use the same magenta pastel to color in the lip. And also for some eyeshadow as well, we're going to put it on the outer edge of the eyelid. Then I'm going to blend that out with some light pink pastel. After that, I'm going to redefine the upper and inner eyelid with my dark green watercolor pencil. On the next layer, I'm going to use my black watercolor pencil to redefine the eye. I'm going to outline the eye and the eyelid, and the iris as well. Alright, cool. Now let's add some variation and texture to the color of the iris. I'm going to use my magenta and yellow watercolor pencils. Then using my black watercolor pencil, I'm going to add the lower eyelid, followed by more pastels to add more color to the eye. On the next layer, I'm going to highlight and redefine my lower eyelid with my white and black watercolor pencils. Then I'm going to add more color to the iris with my yellow watercolor pencil. After that, we're going to add the pupils to the eye as well. And now let's give her some eyebrows with the magenta pastel. I'm going to brush on the general eyebrow shape and then refine it with my eraser. After I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to move on to the lip. We're going to add some texture to the lip with my white watercolor pencil. Off screen, I shaded the top of the eye with some black pastel. On the next layer, I'm going to add some hair to the eyebrows with my magenta watercolor pencil. Again using my eraser to refine the shape. After that, I'll extend the upper eyelid line with the same watercolor pencil. Then continuing on with the same watercolor pencil, we'll shade the outside of the lower eyelid. And then we'll also connect the bottom eyeline with the inner eyeline. Alright, now let's add some pink pearlized mica powder to highlight the face. We're going to be using it on the cheekbones, the eyelid, the lip, and the nose. Oh, and also the brow bone. On the next layer, we're going to enhance her beauty with a beauty mark. So using my black watercolor pencil, we're going to draw on a beauty mark. Then I'm going to draw on her upper eyelash and the lower eyelashes. When you're doing eyelashes, make sure your pencil is really sharp. Alright, cool, those look really great. Now let's add some catch lights to the eyes with my white acrylic paint. I'm just going to dot them on with a really fine brush. Next, we're going to add some more magenta pastel to really enhance that color on the eyelid and the lip. Then we're going to finish up this face with some more pearlized mica powder. After the face, I'm going to start working on the body a little bit off screen. I ombreed the forearms into the upper arms using my magenta pastel. Using the same pastel, I added a little color to the shoulders. I'm also using green acrylic paint to add some freckles. Now let's move on to the outfit. I'm going to be making her a dress today using this window pane organza that I picked up a really long time ago. It also reminds me of a trellis and I think it'd look really nice with some floral beading. So this is the front of the dress. I've gone ahead and finished the edges as well as the top and the bottom with some fray check. I finished the two back pieces the same way. Now we're going to connect the front and the two back pieces by sewing up the side seams. After that, I'm going to press open the seams off screen. Then I'm going to sew in a back Velcro closure. After I sew in the Velcro closure, we're going to sew up the rest of the back off screen. I'm also going to cinch the center front to make it a sweetheart as well. So here's the finished dress base. Now let's add some beading. I ended up not using the ribbon in the shot, so just ignore that. So using my needle and thread, I'm going to start beading. We're going to go in from the back side with the end knotted, take a flower bead, now a seed bead, go back through the flower, and then back through the fabric. Pull it to secure, and then just keep on going. I'm going to be doing some drippy dealies that kind of look like wisteria flowers as well. I'm going to be ombreing them from pink to raspberry. And after a while, the dress looks something like this. I also decided to add a combination of paillette and seed bead as well. Later on I'm going to be adding rhinestones to make it even more sparkly. But as you can see, there isn't nearly enough beading, so let's keep going. Once I'm happy with the beading, I'm just going to tie the thread off at the back. Now let's move on to some hair accessories. I'm going to be making some hairpins out of some beads, a pin, thread, some UV resin, and some more beads. So as you can see, I'm making some dangly bits. We're going to combine those with the hairpin and the flower. I'm going to tie a knot and then finish that off with some UV resin. Once I cure the UV resin, I'm going to cut the threads, add more resin, and then cure it again. Okay, now let's make another hairpin, minus the dangly bits. After that, it's time to go back to the dress to add some rhinestones. I'm going to be gluing them on with some super glue. So I think that looks pretty good for the dress for now, but we're going to add even more rhinestones, this time to the doll. Off screen, using the same floral beads, I made her a bracelet for her wrist and for her forearm. We're going to add some rhinestones to the forearms so they look more like gloves and incorporate better to the dress. And if there wasn't enough rhinestones, I decided to add some rhinestones to the hairpin. Yes, I am rhinestoning a bead, but I decided to do that part off screen. Alright, now let's give her some fake lashes. I'm going to cut them the length off screen. Then I'm going to apply some Elmer's glue all to the base using a pin, put it on the doll, wipe away the excess glue with another pin, wiggle it until I'm happy with the position, and then do the same thing on the other side. Once both lashes are on, I'm going to set it aside to dry and then move on to the gloss. I'm going to be glossing the lip and the lower eyelid. Alright, cool. Next up is the stand. We're going to be customizing this clear Monster High stand. More specifically, just the base. Let's start by gluing these paper roses onto the stand with some super glue. After I glued on the first rose, I thought it'd be a good idea to stop and sand the base so that the glue will stick better. After that, I'm going to keep on gluing on these paper roses and ombre them as I go out. Now let's add some more flowers. I picked up these fake orchids at Michael's. I'm just going to prep them by cutting them off the stem. And because I'm me and I like to make everything sparkly, let's add some rhinestones. I'm trying to keep the pattern semi-organic and just sprinkle on the rhinestones. We're going to be using a green rhinestone, a pink rhinestone, and a yellow rhinestone in the center. I've prepped 3 orchids in total, and now I'm going to glue them to the stand. I started with super glue and reinforced them with UV resin off screen. Alright, cool, that looks pretty so far. Now let's cover up these blank spaces with some green flocking. Alright, now let's add some fake baby spreads sporadically throughout. This is just to add some color variation and to fill in the holes. It also ties back to the white in the dress. I didn't realize I wasn't filming and I did some glittering off screen. Using 3 different colors of glitter glue in green, gold, and pink, I added glitter to the flowers. We did green on the green part of the flower, gold on the yellow part, and pink on the pink part. Shocking, I know. Now let's move on to the final piece of the puzzle, the shoes. Off screen I spray painted these shoes with 2 layers of Tamiya for Plastic spray paint in TS26 Pure White. As you can see, the coverage is a little patchy, so I'm going to use white acrylic paint to finish painting it white. After 2 layers of acrylic paint, I'm going to seal that in with some matte varnish. Off screen, I'm going to paint the flower pink and add some glitter. And after that, the doll's complete. Now there's only one thing left to do, a doll photo shoot. So here she is, here's the finished result. Oh my god, I love her so much. Look how she sparkles. I love the beading. I think it turned out so good. Overall, I love all the details that she has. I really love the body freckles, and I definitely think all the rhinestones and glitter was a must. One of my favorite things is definitely the hair. I think it turned out so pretty. This doll definitely has the more is more aesthetic, and I couldn't love it more. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Also, if you have any ideas for projects in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like the video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. There'll definitely be more doll repaints in the future, as well as other custom dolls just like this. But for the rest of the video, just enjoy these awesome photos. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!